The OnePlus 7T is finally official, and in this video, we're going to be comparing it to the equivalent from Apple, the iPhone 11. What's up guys, Saf here on SuperSaf TV, and let's break down all of the key differences SuperSaf style. Right, initially let's take a look at the build and design. We've got metal and glass on both of these. We've got a circular camera module in the middle on the OnePlus 7T. On the iPhone 11, we've got a square camera module. Now, this is going to come down to your personal preference, but generally speaking, both of them are very premium. You've got an aluminium frame with those glass panels. On the OnePlus, you do get this sort of matte frosted finish on the back, whereas you get a glossy finish on the iPhone 11. Now, the OnePlus 7T is only available in two colors at this point anyway. There might be a few others in the future. And currently, those are this glacier blue, and there's also going to be a frosted silver. With the iPhone 11, you've got many more options. You've got 6 color options to choose from: white, black, red, this product red version that we've got here. There's also a green, a yellow, and a purple. The iPhone 11 also has an official IP68 water and dust resistance rating. The OnePlus 7T does not. Now, OnePlus devices generally are pretty watertight and they could classify as water and dust resistant. However, OnePlus doesn't go for an IP rating because that costs money and they want to keep the device cost as low as possible. Now, let's take a look at the size differences. So you'll notice that the OnePlus 7T is quite a bit taller compared to the iPhone 11, and the iPhone 11 is roughly about the same width, slightly larger, and it's also slightly thicker, but they weigh around about the same too. But when we turn the devices around, this is where you're going to see one of the biggest differences. The OnePlus 7T firstly has a larger 6.55-inch display, whereas the iPhone 11 has a 6.1-inch display. And the OnePlus also has a fluid AMOLED versus the LCD on the iPhone 11. So let's break all of this down. What does it mean? Well, the OnePlus 7T has a 90Hz refresh rate versus the 60Hz on the iPhone. So you're going to be getting much smoother animations. And this is something that you really will appreciate once you've been using the device for a little bit. Everything looks and feels very, very smooth. And also the fact that this is an OLED display means that colors are more vibrant, blacks are deeper. And it's also a brighter display. The OnePlus 7T goes up to 1000 nits of brightness, whereas the iPhone 11 only goes up to 625 nits. And it doesn't stop there. The OnePlus 7T also has a high resolution, so you've got a higher pixel density, around 402 ppi versus 326, so details also appear sharper. And screen to body ratio as well, the OnePlus 7T does have smaller bezels compared to those on the iPhone 11. So in the display category, it is quite an easy win for the OnePlus 7T. You do have an overall superior display on the OnePlus 7T compared to the iPhone 11. The iPhone 11 display isn't bad by any means, but when you do put it up against something like the 7T, then it is a very clear win here for the 7T. Now let's move on to the internals. Both of these are powered by the latest and greatest. So on the OnePlus 7T, we do have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 Plus chipset. On the iPhone 11, we do have Apple's A13 Bionic chip. Now, both of these are going to be super fast, super smooth. I don't think you're going to have a problem with either of these, whether it comes to gaming or general performance. And a lot of that also comes down to the software. With the iPhone 11, you do get iOS 13.1. With the OnePlus 7T, you do get the latest version of Android, and this is one of the first to ship with Android 10, and it comes with the OxygenOS skin. Now, OxygenOS is definitely one of my favorite skins on Android. It's very clean and very smooth. And to be honest, it's going to come down to your personal preference. If you are somebody who likes iOS, then you're going to like the iPhone 11 here. If you're somebody who prefers Android, then you are going to like the OnePlus 7T. You do get some exclusive features on the iPhone, such as iMessage. So if all of your friends and family are on iMessage and use FaceTime and things, then you won't be needing the iPhone to kind of stay within that group. So that's something that you will have to bear in mind. Now let's move on to my favorite part, and that is of course the cameras. As you can see, we have a dual rear-facing camera setup on the iPhone, whereas we have a triple rear-facing camera setup on the 7T. On the iPhone, we have a primary 12 megapixel camera, and then we have an ultra wide as well. That's also 12 megapixels. On the OnePlus 7T, we have a primary 48 megapixel camera. Now, although it's 48 megapixels, you will be pixel binning, so you're going to be looking at around 12 megapixels to be able to get the most out of these sensors, but you can shoot at 48 megapixels if you want. But to get the best out of the cameras in terms of processing and dynamic range, you will be shooting at 12 megapixels. And in addition to that, you do also get an ultra wide. This is at 16 megapixels. And then you also get the telephoto. So this is something that you don't have on the iPhone 11. It is something that you have on the Pro models, but on the OnePlus, you do get 2x optical zoom with the 12 megapixel telephoto camera. Now, of course, specs are just one thing. The real world testing is where you really find out how good these cameras are. And I have been testing these out for the past few days. And generally speaking, I have preferred the results from the iPhone. They have been more consistent between the two cameras. On the OnePlus, this is something that I also noticed on the OnePlus 7 Pro, where when you go from the primary camera to the ultra wide, the colors can look a little bit different. If you look at this example, if you look at the greens in the grass, look how they change when you go to the ultra wide camera, whereas they do stay consistent on the iPhone. I also found that overall, the iPhone 11 had better dynamic range compared to the OnePlus 7T. But when it comes to zoom, of course, you've got optical zoom versus digital zoom, and the OnePlus 7T did produce better results for zooming in. And it's also got a new macro feature, so you can get up really close with the ultra-wide camera and still focus in around 2.5 centimeters away from your subject. And this is something that's not available on the iPhone 11, so you can't focus at that close distance. So if you're somebody into macro photography, then you're gonna like the OnePlus 7T. Now, when it comes to video, both devices can film at 4K up to 60 frames a second. However, on the OnePlus 7T, this is limited to just the primary camera as well as the telephoto. You can't film from the ultra wide at 4K at all. On the iPhone 11, you can film at up to 4K 60 frames a second from all the cameras. So that's the primary, that's the ultra wide, as well as the front-facing camera. On the OnePlus 7T, the front-facing camera maxes out at 1080p. And once again, in my experience of testing out the video side by side, I did find that the iPhone 11 was more consistent, the colors were better, and it also had better dynamic range, as well as stabilization at 4K 60 frames a second, which was something that the OnePlus 7T did struggle with. I do think currently at this point in time, the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 11 Pro does have the best video on any smartphone right now. Apple have done a very, very good job. And the same goes for the front-facing cameras. Although you've got a high resolution, 16 megapixels on the 7T versus 12 megapixels on the iPhone, I did find the results from the iPhone were more consistent. They had better dynamic range. The colors were better. Sometimes the OnePlus 7T did seem to wash out my face in certain situations, whereas the iPhone did maintain the colors a lot better. And for video, of course, having that 4K with that better dynamic range and colors did help. And if you are somebody who likes to vlog and shoot lots of video, then I would definitely recommend the iPhone 11 over the 7T. Now, moving on to the security. So the OnePlus 7T has an optical in-display fingerprint scanner, which is very fast and works very, very well. And it does have facial recognition, but it's only using the front-facing camera for this. So it's not something that I'd recommend using if you are conscious about security. On the iPhone 11, you don't have a fingerprint scanner, but you do have Face ID. Now, Face ID is one of the best when it comes to facial recognition, and it does work very, very fast, and it's also very accurate. So roughly about 30% faster compared to what we had last year. Now, this is going to come down to your personal preference. With the OnePlus 7T, of course, you do have that convenience that if it is flat on the table, you're still going to be able to unlock it. Whereas on the iPhone, you are going to have to lift it up slightly. But in other situations, you might prefer Face ID. So this is going to come down to your personal preference. Now let's talk about audio. So we've got stereo speakers on both devices. There's one in the earpiece and one bottom firing, and both of them do also support Dolby Atmos. However, neither of these have a 3.5mm jack. So that's unfortunately something that both Apple and OnePlus did get rid of some time ago, and it's something that you're just gonna have to get used to on these devices. Now, looking at the batteries, you do have a larger battery on the OnePlus 7T compared to that on the iPhone 11. Usage-wise, I'm gonna have to spend some more time with both of these to give you some proper usage statistics. But what you do have to remember that although the OnePlus 7T does have a larger battery, it does have more pixels to push out, as well as that higher refresh rate. So no doubt that is gonna have an impact on the battery. Both of them do support fast charging. However, the OnePlus 7T does support faster charging. You can get up to 70% in just 30 minutes. And the fast charger, the Warp Charge 30T charger, comes out of the box on the OnePlus 7T. On the iPhone, you are gonna go and have to buy that separately. It does come included on the Pro models, but unfortunately, we don't have it here on the iPhone 11. However, the iPhone 11 does have wireless charging. This is something that the OnePlus 7T doesn't have. It's something that OnePlus have just not done. I'm not sure why. It's something that's very convenient. It is something that I use on a daily basis. So I guess it's going to come down to what are you after, speed or convenience? Now, finally, looking at the different storage versions as well as prices. So the iPhone starts at 64 gigabytes. There is also a 128 as well as a 256 gigabyte option available. On the OnePlus 7T, you're starting at a base of 128 gigabytes, and it is also UFS 3.0 storage. So that's very fast storage, and there is also a 256 gigabyte option available. So that is an advantage that you're getting here on the OnePlus 7T, that you are starting at a higher base model. For pricing, the iPhone 11 starts at $699 or £729, but if we are comparing like for like, then we will be looking at around $749 or £779. The OnePlus 7T, I've not been given official pricing as yet. As soon as I have that, I will be dropping that in the comments below. But we'll be looking at around the $600 mark for the OnePlus 7T. So that is going to come in cheaper compared to the iPhone 11 as expected. So of course, if we look at this on paper, the OnePlus 7T, you are getting more value for your money. You're getting more features for your money. You're getting triple cameras. You're getting a better overall display. However, with the iPhone 11, you are getting the cheapest new iPhone that you can buy right now. And if you are somebody that's invested in the Apple ecosystem, wants the iOS experience, then this is a very, very good option. And in my opinion, overall, it does have better and more consistent cameras compared to the OnePlus 7T, especially when it comes to video. I believe this is one of the best smartphones out there for video right now. And if that is important to you, then the iPhone 11 might be a good option for you. That's what I think anyway. What do you guys think? Definitely drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Also, let me know if there's any further coverage that you'd like me to do with these devices. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, then do hit that thumbs up button for me. And if you haven't already, then be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any further coverage. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV, and I'll see you next time.